If your melodies sound too basic, too clean, lack the industry texture, this plugin might just fix that problem overnight. These melodies right here, all made using Toneflx, and the crazy part is the actual notes, the melodies are super simple. One of them only uses 3 notes. It's all about the processing, and I'm going to show you how I made these melodies. I'm going to show you 2, just breaking them down, kind of giving my thoughts about how I made them, and then I'm going to build one from scratch so that you can see the full process. A lot of producers think that the best melodies rely on complicated chords and music theory, but in reality, all it takes is some texture and movement to get that expensive sound, especially in modern trap beats, and Toneflx makes that ridiculously easy, so let's get into it. I made an insane melody using 3 notes. I'll show them to you real quick. So we have this fraction right here, C, D sharp, D, just repeats, and then it goes up an octave for the next 4 bars. Come over to Analog Lab Banks, just C playing at 2 octaves, D sharp, D. And before adding any Toneflxs, that's what this sounds like. Okay, so super simple melody. Now I run the fraction through Toneflx, and it becomes this. So you can hear super different sounding. And we add those dry signals back in, and we get this. We throw another Toneflx on the piano. And we get that. Completely changed it from that basic sounding melody to something that sounds super textured, super cool, and you don't really know how to describe what you're hearing. And then we can create a B section by throwing that entire thing through another instance of Toneflx. And I believe I just used the reverse pedal to reverse it, give this kind of chopped up feel to it. Sounds like this. So right there, that by itself is Fire Loop, and could have been done there. I did add more to it. I added a couple samples that I pulled from Arcade, and together it sounds like this. And both of these I threw Toneflxs on again, but they were more subtle, like just some like tape saturation type stuff, not super like distorted changing it at all, but it sounds like this. So that's something crazy you can do with Toneflx. Just make something super simple, run it through some crazy processing, and make something that sounds totally unique. And that's kind of the method I've been doing to make some crazy trap melodies lately. Another example I have is this project right here, and this was even more simple because the key to this melody really was using one of the presets from the artist series. I can't remember which one it is, but I know it's an ARP preset, and just playing the notes out, basically using this MIDI right here. This has a few more notes added in, but primarily this exact MIDI, just some basic chords, creates this. Okay, so super dope melody, and the timing of it how the pedals work and stuff, I had to, you know, print it to audio and slide it a little bit to get it on time. But it was dope. And then this is just another one of those Toneflx presets from the artist series. Just an analog bass sound. By itself sounds like this. Okay, so super cool. Together it sounds like this. And then we have yet another artist series preset here. Playing those same chords from the ARP. A few more notes added in. And we get this. And then just to fill up more space and add a little bit more movement, we have this sidechained pad sweeps. And then you can see I have a Toneflx mix here. Comes in and just filters out that main loop from the ARP. And then we come in and we throw a halftime on it. And then we drop off the filter and leave the halftime. It's so easy to create extra sections using Toneflx and halftime, different combinations of those, just swapping up the melody some, and it's super dope. So again, that was super duper easy to make and it sounds insane. So let's make one from scratch together so you can see the actual process of selecting the presets and all that, because it's hard for me to show you exactly like which presets I do because I have to render it and then, you know, I switch out the presets and I Toneflx something else and you know, I'm 10 Toneflx plugins deep. But let's do it from scratch together and I'll show you what it's all about. All right, let's go ahead and cook up something from scratch here. First things first, it's going to load up an instance of Fraction. Let's just click in some notes. Let's go ahead and pick our key. And we'll just go with D minor. Why not? Okay, so I came up with a simple fast pattern here, and all I did was create the pattern, basically a 2-bar pattern here, duplicated it over, and then I raised it up 5 semitones for the next 4 bars, and I just changed one note because it sounded a little bit weird where it was. So we have a basic melody here to start us off, and we could go ahead and add chords here to layer with it, or we could go ahead and hop into Toneflx. Let's go ahead and add some pads or some sort of keys for the chords just to fill this up and make it feel more complete. And I'm going to hop into the artist series and I'm going to go to the instrument plus FX chains. So if you get the artist series, I highly recommend it. It comes with these presets that have an Analog Lab preset selected, ran through an instance or multiple instances of Toneflx to create a cool sound right off the bat. I like the underwater OBO keys. Let's just go with that one. Okay, so you can see this is an Analog Lab preset, ran into Toneflx and then out to FL. So we can just create a simple chord pattern here. And this is pretty common. Just the simple D minor triad. And then we have, just drop that note down 1 and we'll get that real tense feeling. And I forgot we went up 5 semitones. Let's do that here too. That's G. want a change right at the end here. Okay, so super basic dark melody here. Nothing special about this whatsoever. So now that we have this, and this is, a basic melody that, any beginner producer could make, right? Didn't take any special knowledge, really, any talent. We're going to process the heck out of it and make it sound unique and cool. So let's go ahead and route both these to mixer tracks. Now, the keys already have Toneflx on it, so I'm not going to start off there. I'm going to go ahead and just throw a Toneflx on the fraction here, our pluck sound. So find Toneflx. And my favorite way to use Toneflx is to use this choose your FX idea and generate a preset. So let's start with the chorus. Let's get an analog chorus. Resampler. I don't know if I really want to resample this or not. Maybe just a subtle change there. Some warm distortion. Let's give it clean tape. Let's do slow tremolo. And I like to go with a trippy delay. And then reverb. We could just do a short. Let's generate that, see what it sounds like. Okay, so that sounded kind of cool. It's giving us a little different feel there. I'm gonna adjust some of these things. The noise is a little high on the tape. Don't really want that. Maybe not quite as much drift. Let's actually route both of these to a new mixer track. And we'll do route to this track only. And then in here, there's in the artist series, we have some Toneflx FX chains. Let's go with let's try out a couple of these different instant flippers. So instant flipper 1, we can throw that on here. And this is gonna totally just mess up our melody. So we have 3 different Toneflxs on here, all doing different things. Let's just listen to how it sounds. Okay, could be a cool texture to layer in. Let's try instant flipper 2. Instant flipper 3. Okay, so I dragged in this R&B B section maker, 2 Toneflxs, and we have something that sounds completely different. So what I like to do when I'm doing it like this is just to consolidate this track, and we might mix that in with some of the original sounds. So let's try it out. Okay, and then you can see there's some dead space here. I'm just gonna slide this up to the beginning. Going to unmute this, and then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna turn off these Toneflxs here so that we're not redoing that same thing, and we'll have basically these dry signals coming through. Not 100% dry because they already have Toneflx on them, but you know what I'm saying. Alright. So right there, you can kind of see how simple it can be to really create something that's unique and different off the super simple melody. Remember, just like a simple up and down pattern, we completely mangle it into this. And then we add it back with this. Super dope melody. And yeah, I wouldn't call it done right there. Like, I'll create different sections and I'll bring in different samples probably and mess them up with Toneflx, but this is a super solid bass to be like the driving, like, main melody throughout the whole thing. Let's just throw some drums on there. I'll bring in a drum loop from my upcoming kit I'm working on. And that's without a sub bass or an 808 or anything. Like, I think you're hearing the direction this is going. So that's how simple it is to make a dope melody with Toneflx. Let me go ahead and add some more to this, and then we'll cut to the end and show you guys the final result. But that's the process I wanted to show you guys. Make a simple melody. I use 2 sounds, right? Use Toneflx. Chains that you can get from the artist series, you can just slap them on there. You can generate your own presets like I did with that pluck sound to get the cool effects on it. There's so many different ways you can do it. There's not a right way or a wrong way. And you can do this for a lot more than just hard trap beats, but hard trap beats are super easy to make with this process. Just making something simple that sounds good and then processing it to the point where it sounds different. Alright, so I finished up the track. All I did was basically arrange it out, added the actual drum programming so that I could split out everything, and basically I added a halftime on the intro and at the end of the verse, and I cut off the end of our consolidated loop here and reversed it so that we have this kind of reverse into the hook. So that sounds pretty cool, and actually I need to bring that over for the verses entering into the hook again. But yeah, simple structure. Let's listen to the final product. If you like what you saw in this video, click up here, see the full review of the plugin.